Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon. We're kind of right in between here at the 12:30 slot, depending on how much you slept in this morning or how much you had to drink last night. Welcome to Friday Live. We're fueled by coffee, hopes, and dreams this morning. Colin Harper sitting across from Brian Peluso. I can't even speak today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're off to a good start.
Sorry.
Happy Friday. This is not
I've had-
drink related, I will
I've
say.
had various versions of my name. Sometimes it was Peludo. It was most often Pulso. So the first hockey jersey I ever got in high school came back to me. I was super excited. It was my first jersey. It was going to be part of the team. Name tag said Pulso. So it was very disappointing.
That is very unfortunate.
So I understand that happens.
Beautiful. Well, we've got a great show lined up for you today. A lot of exciting things.
So.
Hey, huge thank you. Now we skipped Friday Live last week because we had our big client event
Friday
on Thursday
before,
night,
Labor Day,
and just a big thank you to all our clients and friends that came out and enjoyed a night at the Washington Wild Things game. We had a great time. It's something we love doing, and they're certainly appreciative of you guys giving up an evening and come out and hang out with us. We had a great time. If you didn't make it this year, don't worry. We do it every year, and it's always a guaranteed great time. Can't guarantee a lot of things in our industry, but a great time is one of them.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Probably can't guarantee that either, but we do what we can.
We do that either the last Thursday of August or the first Thursday of September. So it falls right in there all the time.
So mark your events for the can't miss event of next year, 2024.
It was a good time, and the Wild Things won. Good game. Beautiful day. So had a great time, and it was great to see everybody. Had about 70, 80 people with stuff to say. Had a big spot out there in right field. It's great.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Well, moving right along from coffee and Friday and just that. Brian, I heard we have some interesting history tidbits for this.
Well,
day in
I
history.
do love this day in history stuff. And what does it tell us? I don't know what it tells us, but I'll go in chronological order. September 8th, 1565. Mike, this one's for you. First permanent European settlement in the U.S. founded at St. Augustine, Florida.
Yeah.
There we go.
Are you in St. Augustine today or Sarasota?
I am in St. Augustine today. How could I miss this occasion?
It's St. Augustine's birthday. There's got to be some celebrations somewhere right up the road from you. So I thought that was a good one. 1966. This wasn't for me necessarily, but you got to recognize the cultural presence of 1966. Star Trek premieres on NBC TV.
See, I'm a sci-fi fan. I know Brian and Mike are very much not sci-fi fans. You like to deal with the real, and I apparently I live in a fantasy world over here.
I try not to watch or read too much fiction. Truth is plenty interesting enough.
Especially these days.
So, I find the real life and real lives as fascinating as anything that can be created. Finally, this day, September 8th, 1986. This is more for my generation. I was 15 at the time. It was the first very first broadcast nationally of the Oprah Winfrey Show. Oprah became, obviously, I guess continues to be to a certain degree. I think she lost a little bit of her luster with some of her when she decided to become political, but in my opinion. But you've got to recognize what a force she was in the media world. Super impressive what she has done in that amount of time. Not only in the video, print media, and all these other things. It's unfortunate in my eyes that you got to segue that into voicing your political mind all the time, but whatever. I guess that's her, free speech. But always have been incredibly impressed with what Oprah Winfrey has done. It was really amazing to watch that rise through. She connected with her audience. I mean, she knew her audience as well as anybody's ever known an audience. That was super impressive. What would I say about that from a planning standpoint? I would say dream big. Dream big, prepare for success. I don't think in 1986 in her first episode that she thought she would be a multi-billionaire, one of the wealthiest people in the world. I don't think so. So prepare for success. Oftentimes, I think what happens in our financial planning, we see, a good bit is everybody wants to talk about what's going to go wrong. A lot of crap can go wrong, quite frankly. But, dream big, to your point, prepare for success. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Everything in between is going to be a great result. It's kind of the way we approach our financial planning. So if Oprah had done that, man, she probably did, actually. She had big dreams, and she probably did that, become a multi-billionaire. So that's a little bit of history for us. I don't know what all that leads us to, but
we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like we always do. Mike, talking about what's leading and what's going on. What do you got from the financial side of things for this week? What reports are you looking at? What terms are you going to throw out that none of us understand? I'm excited. Where are we going?
Yeah, and nothing we say today should be taken as a specific recommendation, just our usual spiel. So
we do recommend you come to the baseball game next year.
Yes, that's a recommendation. Nothing else.
So it looks like the rally kind of stalled out last Friday. Following that, what you could call a Goldilocks jobs report, where you saw the headline come in a little higher than expectations, but the 2 prior months were revised down. I figured I'd touch on this a little bit since we skipped last Friday. Unemployment rate ticked up to 3.8%, and we saw a rise in the participation rate. So that could come back down as those people get employed. But surprisingly, the market didn't really hold the gains that it had in the morning. So since then, shortened trading week, we've just been kind of trending lower, specifically in the tech sector. And that has a lot to do with the Chinese strapped some regulations on Apple. They're, I think, banning some government employees from using the iPhone. And then their Chinese kind of Apple equivalent, although I don't think the technology is as good, as launching a new phone that's supposedly able to kind of do the 5G capability. So Apple had a big sell-off this week. In the 2 trading days, it was down like 7%. So that carried the whole market down. There's also some fears that seeped into the semiconductors because they have Chinese exposure. And then companies like Qualcomm have derive a large part of their revenue from Apple. So that was part of it. The market also got freaked out by the ISM services came in hotter than expected, and jobless claims coming in lower than expected. So kind of back to that narrative of good news is bad news is what it means for the Fed. Now, we did hear a lot from Fed members this week, and I think a lot of them are okay with moving forward cautiously. Most of them, I think, are in favor of a skip in September, which I think the September meeting is the 20th. 20th to the 21st or 19th to the 20th. So I think we will get a skip there. And then it's kind of a coin flip at this point for the November meeting. Estimates for inflation next week, the headline is supposed to tick up to 3.6% from 3.2%. That's been trending downward for the past handful of months. So we're going to see a reversal on that. And that has a lot to do with energy prices. Energy prices are up 6% in August alone and well off of their lows. So they did break above that 84 level. So we're kind of in a breakout period between here and probably $93 a barrel. It's at 87 today. We're also seeing a rise in the dollar. There's some, the UAW, the car union is
United Auto Workers.
Yeah. So that could lead to some wage pressure. And also we got used car prices today, which also ticked up higher after a nice decline last month. So core is still expected to come in lower. I think the previous month was like 4.6, and that's going to come down to 4.3. So that's the main thing the Fed will be watching. But if wages stay high and the commodity market could lead into the core segment going forward. So something to be concerned about, but like I said, I think the momentum's kind of rolling over from this recent rally we had. And that has a lot to do also with interest rates. They've been on the rise again. We got back close to that cycle high around 4.30 on the 10-year. So the past 2 days, it's come back down. So if that moves lower and the dollar moves lower, it could give fuel to a further rally. But otherwise, we might see some more weakness in the month of September, which isn't uncommon. Some of those statistics are kind of distort it when you have years that are above like 10% in the market, above 15% in the market, third year of the presidential cycle, different things like that. September is not that bad, but in a just absolute term, looking at every year, September is the worst month of the year for stock market.
So it should be. We alluded to that a couple of weeks ago, actually, but that's over long periods of time. You know, there are multiple cycles, and there's a lot of things that go in there. But on average, over the longer periods, September is the worst month. Been a beautiful month here in Western Pennsylvania so far, but
it's been a scorcher.
Got to look for the positive.
Hey, you got to look for the positive. Well, if there's anything I learned from this little recent market cycle we've been in, speaking, kind of going on the theme of the United Auto Workers, Mike, I know you're not a big car guy, but I really should have bought that Jeep Wrangler that has the Hemi in it about 2 or 3 years ago when it came out, about 20 grand less and at 2% interest instead of now. I mean, it's amazing how much inflation's affected car prices. And I remember, looking out, mid 20s, like low 30s, you go get a brand new car. It seems like every single car now is like 40 grand starting. It's crazy.
It's just the most basic.
I think I just saw the average selling price is like $45,000.
Average selling price of cars is way up. Average price of homes, way up. So, I mean, that's real stuff. That is very real stuff. And that's, one of the reasons why it's so important to plan for inflation in your financial planning. We alluded to this a couple weeks ago. But one of the big things we don't take into account is when we're planning, it's usually on averages. So those averages, when you see, especially when people talk about market returns, they talk about, expectations, they usually talk in pretty linear measurements. Correct. And we are anything but linear here, right? We are far, far above, the average annual inflation rate. Now, over time, it should revert back to the mean, right? Over time, we'll get back to the mean. But it's important that when you go through difficult times like this, realize that, we're still planning for it. It's built into the plan, but our planning, although it's presented a lot of times linear, our journey is far from linear. Same with the market, as well. We have ups and downs and we go through cycles, and there's a lot of things we can do to kind of curb some of the pain during those times if you're risk sensitive. But at the end of the day, we're planning for long-term objectives most often. Short-term objectives should be paid special attention to, however, and there's some different planning strategies that go into short-term planning. But it's important to kind of separate those two out. And no doubt.
And then, I always say the key to a happy retirement is just turn off the news. There's some simple things you can do to really, really increase your quality of life.
How many people that we know that are retired that don't pay attention to the news? It's not a whole lot, which is unfortunate in spite of our guidance.
And it's one of those things that, I think the older you get, the more involved you get in the news and the more interested you get in politics, because it feels like it affects you more, especially when you flip that switch and go from working to retirement. You feel like the decisions made by policymakers and all the noise on the news has a more immediate effect because your earning power is gone once you flip that switch to retirement. So certainly some very real concerns by a lot of folks out there, but there's a ton of stuff we can do around that to build in safety and, thoughtful ways we can plan to take to take a little bit of the stress out of the day-to-day, which is really our goal when it comes to financial planning. Reduce the stress caused by finances and financial planning. Make it simple, digestible.
Well, it's, reducing stress really starts with knowledge, right? Understanding what's going on and how it might affect you. And once the financial plan's built, then, we have the whole, Colin, going back to we got the car built.
We got the car built.
Now it's just tuning it up for whatever conditions you're in. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy for people to come to us in this ridiculous analogy and say, okay, I'm going out west up the altitude. Do I need to adjust air intake? Well, I don't know. Let's take a look, see how the plan works in altitude, if you will.
Well, I haven't been in altitude in a while, but I know my air intake struggles when we get up there. It's rough.
Gosh,
it's rough. Ask Mike. He's always telling me to go faster every time we go skiing. He's like, "What are you doing back there? Where you keep walking?"
First time I took my motorcycle, got a 1995. First time I took it up into the mountains. I thought, man, what is going on? I'm about to stall out here. This is terrible. Putting along. I mean, it's just, big old metal fuel injected engine. Or no, it's carbureted. It's carbureted. That's back the carbureted days. Oof. So anyway, but the point being is that once your financial plan is built, then we can start to model those things out. Somebody that's retiring right now and said, "Hey, I'm going to South Carolina." If they planned out 10 years ago to buy a house somewhere on the coast of South Carolina, maybe what they put into that plan 10 years ago, what they wanted to spend is probably 1.5, 2 times more.
Well, on the bright side, it is hurricane season, so there are deals to be had once those storms start hitting.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Joking aside, though, hopefully we don't have as bad of a hurricane season as we have recently, because it's not looking great so far. But
no, it's not.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some waves here in St. Augustine next week.
Well, there you go.
Nice. Anything else on the planning economic front that we need to cover? There's a ton going on. One of the things I've got on my mind are these tax cuts starting in January 1st of 2026. It's coming up quick.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not tax cuts. They're tax adjustments. There's going to be a whole bunch of things that are going to change. As of right now, pending no further legislation, there's going to be a lot of tax changes January 1st of 2026, which means you got to plan for them now.
Oh, absolutely. There's still a lot of stuff you can do on this current tax code.
Yeah.
Before those changes go into effect. So if it's it's a lot of it has to do with estate planning as well, and saving money on estate planning. So if that's that happens to be you and you're concerned about those big sunsets that are happening, definitely give us a ring. Love to chat with you.
We don't give specific tax recommendations. It's knowledge. And knowledge and thoughts and some guides. You really do need to work with a qualified tax professional and a qualified legal professional on, especially in the estate side. But it's going to be an interesting year. Next year, with elections, it'll fly by, and then you'll get into 2025, and so it's a good time to begin thinking about these things. But again, that all the legislation could change. But as we sit right now, we're kind of in planning mode on a lot of those things.
And speaking of that, sit down, buckle up, strap in, because I think we are going to have the most ridiculous election cycle we have had in our lifetimes.
It's going to be chaos. Great entertainment.
It is going to be just constant free entertainment on every side.
I did see the vice president came out, Kamala Harris, of course, and said that if they needed her, she'd be prepared to be president.
Well, that's good. Considering
and then it's followed up with, well, we won't need that, which I don't know, some moments I think we might. But he has come out several times in the last couple of days and said, hey, if it's needed, I'm ready. I don't know. I don't know where she's been, so it's tough to tell where. Yeah, if she's ready, but
well, at least she's willing to fulfill one of the primary responsibilities of her job. Should it come to it,
I guess. I think it's an interesting. I don't think it's I don't think it's coincidental that they're starting to come out with. Oh, by the way, I'm ready if need be.
Yeah, so. It's some interesting things going on in U.S. politics for sure. I'm certainly no expert in that arena, but.
That's quicksand.
It's definitely quicksand. But I'll also mention that if we look at historical data, who actually holds the presidency, or what parties occupy different offices, it has some effect, but it doesn't really have a dramatic effect on the market.
No, there's all sorts of, and again, this is time dependent. You go back 50 years, you go back 20 years, you go back 10 years, or whatever it is. It seems. Anecdotally, that the one consistent thing is that as long as we have divided government, right, as long as there is a balance of power between political parties, whether it be the executive or legislative branch, as long as there are some differing opinions there, the market seems to do a little bit better. When there's a unified legislative and executive branch, meaning unified, meaning one party, market doesn't seem to like that as much. So that seems to be kind of the key. I don't know. We're going to find out.
Absolutely. But the beautiful thing about proper planning is it takes all those things we can't control out of the picture.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can only focus on what you can control. You can focus on what you can influence.
Yeah.
And then all the things you can't do a damn thing about. Turn off the news.
Turn off the news. No doubt. Yeah. I mean, what things can you control? You control what you save and spend for sure. Can't control what the market does.
Nope.
That's completely out of control. Can't even influence that. You can influence a certain amount of the politics by voting.
Mm-hmm.
People vote, people debate that. But you can only on the fringe influence that. But those are the things people get twisted up about. Market went down. I'm frustrated. Well, it's tough to get frustrated over things you really can't do anything about.
Oh, absolutely. Well, on that note, Mike, Brian, any good plans for the weekend?
None. Volleyball tournament tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, me neither. Just hanging out.
If you guys haven't figured this out, we're pretty boring people. We kind of come to work and we love what we do, and this is
my
excitement.
This is what I love, right?
This is like the highlight of my week, getting together with the boys, talking about finances and planning.
That's so true. It's absolutely true.
Well, again, thank you as always for joining us. I'm hoping I've been teasing an exciting announcement for a while now. I kind of let it go just because I'm bad at time management and it's taking much longer than I thought. But I think next week or the following week, probably have an exciting announcement or two to share with everybody. And I can't wait for that. But I will keep you guessing in the meantime.
Is this a personal announcement or is it a professional announcement?
Oh, it's a professional announcement, not a personal announcement.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely ain't having any more kids right now, so we're safe there.
You read right through that question.
Yeah, two's plenty. Two's a great number for the time being. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us. Stay healthy, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next week.